Okay, welcome, welcome. So we are on our fourth workshop so far. We have five total as a quick reminder, so we will have one more tomorrow. I admit and acknowledge that it's a Friday night, so hopefully you can come. I understand if you can't. We'll do what we can. And then we do have our award ceremony as a reminder, Saturday, 12 o'clock Mountain Time, 12:30 question mark. Should probably know this off the top of my head. Let's see. 12 o'clock. Yeah. You wanted to make it super easy. So 12 o'clock Mountain Time. So if you were able to come to that, that would be awesome. We're planning to do some like fun social interaction games. I'm thinking about, I need to figure out the logistics, doing some kind of vote for people, for you guys to vote for each other, for like most, participating the most or most, whatever. So still figuring out the details of that, but I think that'd be kind of cute and fun. I want to make it more like a team feel, like a team aspect, so that we can continue to, again, engage with each other as often as possible. So I'm hoping that if we have some type of vote, that people will start to pay more attention to what everybody else is doing. That's my thought process. Hey, Nate.
Hi.
How's your day?
Oh, stared at a computer all day.
All right. Hey, that's the life sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Although it's the one that I decided, here's the thing. I decided it wasn't for me, right? Sitting in a desk and doing like a 9 to 5 on the computer, because I went through that for 3 years, two different jobs. And I just got super bored of it. It wasn't, but I think it's because it wasn't what I enjoyed and was interesting to me. Because now I spend plenty of time behind a computer, programming and putting together, like building university and all this stuff. That is obviously still lots of sitting and beep booping and stuff like that, but it's a lot more interesting to me. So I guess as long as you like what you're doing, it doesn't really matter, right?
Well, we won't get
Oh!
into that. But
All right, all
that's
right.
a topic for a different day, maybe.
It is. Maybe it's a topic for tomorrow. Spoiler alert. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So we are, like I said, on our fourth one. We were working our way through our pillars. So again, just popping that image up one more time. We worked through mindset. We did fitness and then nutrition switch, but fitness, nutrition. And so today is number 4, fourth pillar, which is going to be sleep. So all of my building university students have gone through some portion of the sleep at this point. So it'll be fun to get your interactions as well with this. So the first thing that I want to ask you is, I will go one at a time. How many hours of sleep do you think you get on an average evening? Let's talk weekday, because we know that weekends are sometimes a little bit different. So Ray, how many hours of sleep do you think you normally get?
From like 7 to 8.
Okay, solid. Caitlin?
6 to 12.
Okay, quite a range. Kristen?
I would say probably 7. I've been doing better with the challenge, so
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Nice. Nate?
I probably average 5 or 6.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And then the next question is going to be, how many hours would you like to sleep? Like, what would be like, oh, this is beautiful type of sleep? Right.
I think 8 is like my sweet spot.
Caitlin?
9.5 is my sweet spot.
Okay. Kristen?
Say 8.
8? Yeah.
Mhm.
Nate?
I would say most days probably 7, but if I'm like super tired or a long day, like 9 seems to be like I just like seem to automatically wake up after 9 hours for some reason.
Yeah. And we do have some variation here, but this is a good demonstration of where it's different for each person as well, right? So I usually, we have like a sleep number bed, so it tells you how you sleep and stuff like that. It's probably like in terms of accuracy, but we'll take it for with a grain of salt. I usually have about an hour every night where I'm like restless, and so I don't sleep that hour, and so I have to subtract that hour from like my sleep time when I'm in bed, and so I usually get probably 6, sometimes 5.5 on the low end, and sometimes 7 on the higher end. But 8.5, oh, would be beautiful for me. You know what I mean? And so that's something that we have to consider too, is like, how well are we sleeping through the night? And do we need to cushion it and maybe potentially sleep a little bit longer to be able to make up for getting up in the middle of the night or whatever, right? That was my point. I just wanted to give you my example. Okay, and then the last question, which will lead us into our conversation, is how many hours of sleep can you like get away with? Like, haven't slept very much, but I can still function on a generally normal level, right?
Probably like 6.5 to
Oh, okay,
7 hours, maybe.
okay. Caitlin?
2.
Ooh, wow, that's impressive. Kristen?
I'd say like 5.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nate?
Well, I'd say like I can get away with the one night of 4 or 5, but if I have 2 nights in a row of like 5 hours, then that is not good.
That's completely valid too, because it kind of compounds on top of itself, right? Yeah, I can get away with 4.5 to 5 for a day or two, right? And then after that, it starts getting. So that's what I wanted to talk about is, so when I was working 4 jobs in my 20s and was up from, 5 a.m. to like 11 p.m. every day, I was literally so exhausted that I was like falling asleep counting reps for my morning clients. And or I was like driving home and like kind of almost falling asleep, like where it's actually like a little bit dangerous, right? And my memory sucked. I was super stressed out. I remember missing like one huge meeting that I was supposed to be at with one of our athletes' parents because I double booked myself and my brain was all over the place. Like I thought I had a bad memory, but it was because I was like sleep deprived, overcommitted, exhausted. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like the extreme end of it. But I'm sure that you guys have seen some of that in your life as well, right? So what we're going to talk about is how sleep can actually be an amplifier, is the word that I kind of came up with, good or bad, right? Bad sleep will amplify everything down or amplify bad things up. Good sleep will amplify good things up as well. So next we're going to talk about some habits that you are trying to implement. Sleep aside, we'll just pretend we're not talking about that right now. What is something that you're like working on trying to be more consistent about? Great.
You said with sleep aside?
Yes, no sleep in mind, just something that you're like generally working on trying to be better at right
We're consistent on doing yoga.
now. Ooh, okay. Absolutely. Caitlin?
Eating breakfast before noon.
Okay. Kristen?
A nighttime routine.
Ooh, yes. Nate?
I would say squat, like that, getting stronger on that.
Okay, cool. You're like diddly squat. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, squatting. Cool. Perfect. So then, easy answer. If you were like really fucking tired and you got that like minimal or less than minimal hours of sleep that we just discussed, how likely are you going to be to execute that habit that you were just talking about? Like barely at all, right? It's probably not happening, right? I see that in myself a lot for my workouts. My sleep will absolutely affect how much I want to do the workout, how hard I'm going to work on my workout. You know what I mean? So let's talk a little bit about, we'll talk bad and then we'll talk good. As sleep is an amplifier, what are some negative things that you think that you can see it doing in the rest of your life? Like how can it affect other things? Do you end if I still go in the same order? Okay, right?
Well, like you were saying, like with work, it can affect your work and like memory, your progress in work and just remembering like some basic things even.
Mm-hmm. Caitlin?
I was gonna say the same thing. The lack of sleep really affects your memory and, missing important things. I've done that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Kristen?
So one thing that's been interesting I've noticed is when I'm more tired, I'm more dyslexic.
Ah, yes. Maybe a focus thing?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have a hard time reading through emails than when I can be productive and I've had more sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Nate?
I would say I notice it not as much physically, but mentally on focus. But luckily, none of you work with me. But if I haven't got enough sleep, some days I'll literally just be looking at a screen for like half an hour or an hour, just thinking about things. and not doing anything. So
Yes.
it's worse when I don't sleep.
I agree. Mine is very similar to the two of yours. I will like scroll my phone for longer if I'm tired because I'm procrastinating doing something else. I will wait longer to work out. Even if I eventually get myself to work out, I'll wait like a whole hour, but just like wasting time not doing anything. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that it can negatively do. I pulled up a couple in terms of, you guys mentioned a lot of these, concentration, focus, and productivity. And that's one of those things that's a little bit hard for people that are in a job where they feel like their job is a reflection of their effort, right? And so if they're not putting in a ton of time, a ton of effort, doing the extra, going the extra mile, then it's like a bad reflection on them, right? And so that's a general belief I think a lot of us think a lot of times. But then if you think about not getting enough sleep because you're trying to work hard, then you're not putting out as good of a product either, right? Like, so it's kind of a double whammy, a little conundrum of sorts. So that's something to keep in mind. The next is going to be memory, as we talked about, not even short term, but also long term. So I don't know if you guys have known this or not. A lot of my older clients are kind of dealing with this, but it actually contributes very closely to both dementia and Alzheimer's. And so if you're not getting sleep now, when you're at risk for dementia and Alzheimer's, it's like multiplied, which is pretty scary, right? No one really wants to have to go through that. So it's important now, even though that might be years down the road. The other one is slower reaction time. So like I talked about, I was getting real sleepy while I was driving, which is obviously very dangerous. But also even in like sports or your workouts or something like that, like there's that risk of injury, right? Because you're not paying as much attention, you're not reacting as quicker or as quickly and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure we covered those as well. So now let's talk about what are some of the benefits of good sleep. As an amplifier, how does it make things better or easier? Right.
Yeah, so just you overall generally feel good. You know, you're not tired or sleepy, or say you're motivated to do things, or you have the energy to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you use the word motivated because we've thrown that in here a couple of times this week, right? And so
Yeah.
it does kind of help perpetuate that motivation piece. Totally. Caitlin?
I would say that you're more on top of it. You know, your mind is refreshed, so you're not stressing over it and you're aware of what your goals are for the day.
Absolutely. You can actually execute them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Kristen?
I would say higher emotional resilience.
Ooh, I love that. Will you tell me more?
Yeah, I think I'm easier to be around when I've had sleep.
Like, I love that. Nate?
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. Just I don't get as, I don't know what you want to call it, angry or sad or even a little depressed. Sleep really helps with that, I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder if that's a little bit of a survival mechanism. So I know we've talked a little bit about like fight and flight and all that stuff. So your amygdala is where we have a lot of emotions. And when you are in a stressful environment, your cortisol is heightened, your amygdala works first, and that's the emotional, type feeling, which can come across as anxiety or depression too, right? When it's in its extremities. And so I think that's a really good way of describing it is that emotional resilience, like you were talking about, right? It's like
Mhm.
your feelings aren't as loud, might be a good way to think about it, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Cool. I love that. Excellent. All right. And so then on top of the things that we already talked about, obviously your mood, your focus, the other habits that we're trying to work on, including how we're eating, if we're working out, all of that stuff. It does also lower your risk of chronic diseases. So that's huge. Not only just Alzheimer's and dementia, but also heart disease. You can actually, did you know if you sleep more, you can be skinnier? You will retain less body fat. That's pretty great, right? I know that sounds silly, but it's something that people care about, right? So that's cool. Fun fact. It also helps with your recovery. So there's a lot of really cool, important processes that happen at night, right? That allow you to recover from not only just physically like your workouts and stuff like that, but like your stress and all of that too, and a bunch of inflammatory markers within your body. It also helps your lymphatic system, which helps get rid of all the waste in your body, just drain out more effectively. So if we're able to sleep, especially during the peak hours, if we're able to sleep and let our body restore, oh my gosh, your recovery is going to be so much better, right? So those are a couple really important ones. Oh, for the weight control, just throw some terms at you. I thought this was kind of fun. So ghrelin is your hunger hormone. It's what makes you hungry. And leptin is your fullness hormone, which makes you feel full. Of course, lack of sleep makes your ghrelin higher, so you're hungrier. And it makes your leptin lower, so you can't tell that you're full. So what kind of food choices do you think we're going to make when we feel like real fucking hungry?
The worst ones.
Eat anything and everything as soon as we can get it, type of thing. So that it really truly affects that too. So that's why I want to show you just like full, well-rounded. It touches everything that we're doing, right? So that's why it's so important. The reason that I put it as a fourth pillar is because it's something that technically, if we don't take care of, you can get away with for a while. But as you know, sustainability is one of our main focuses during this whole challenge. And is it going to be sustainable, Nate, to be not getting sleep for like more than a couple days in a row?
No.
Yeah, right? It just, you can't keep it up. At some point you crash. Anybody get sick when they're not sleeping very well? That's one of the first things. If I have like a solid week where I'm like pulling, not all-nighters, we don't do that anymore, but I'm pulling a bunch of late nights in a row, like I will get sick immediately. So that's also immune function, right? It's pretty crazy. Beautiful. Okay, so like we just talked about, I think a lot of people, especially if they believe that they are high achievers or if they're hustlers, right? I've been in this before. We're like, oh, like I'll sleep when I'm dead. I need to like work as hard as possible. I need to get X, Y, Z done. Still me sometimes. I absolutely stay up sometimes because I'm like, oh, I have to do the thing before tomorrow, right? And so that happens to me all the time. Anyone else go through that? Yeah. And sometimes we just like take it, right? Or just like, well, that's the way it is. Or this is what I need to do to get where I need to be, type of thing, right? So does anyone have examples of when they just like push through? And can you tell me why you did that? Caitlin?
Well, two things. One, you got enough hustle for the both of us. Like, thank you for that.
I don't feel like it. I appreciate that.
Two, I would definitely have to say, can you phrase your question again? Sorry.
Have you ever like pushed through where you're just like, hey, I just need to like basically not sleep tonight, and why?
Right. Okay. So, when I used to work for the TSA and we were on mandatory overtime, we would be working 10 or 12-hour shifts, depending on the need. And so a lot of the time I'd come home and I'd be like, I gotta eat, I gotta take care of all of these other responsibilities. It's fine, I'll power through. And I think I did that for like a week straight. And then I just got super sick and I just crashed so hard and I missed 2 days of work the following week because of it.
Ironic, right? Stayed late at work so that you could work more and then you have to miss work.
Yeah,
Like we
not
logically
worth
know,
it.
but emotionally it doesn't always feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good example. Anyone else?
Yeah, so as a caregiver, like sleep at my client's house, and I have to every night that I'm there, I have to clock out at 11:59 p.m. and then clock back in at 12 a.m. So sometimes, I've been a little bit better about it, but sometimes like it'll be 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and I'm just like, oh, well, I don't want to fall asleep and then have to wake up in an hour and clock out and then be awake for another hour. So I'll just stay up. But though yeah, I've been a bit better with just going to sleep as soon as I get there. But yeah, in the past, I definitely would stay up until the time I would have to clock out and clock back in.
That is truly inconvenient. I'm sorry you have to do that.
Yeah, it's a pain sometimes. And then sometimes I'll sleep past the alarm. So then it's like 12:01. I'm like, oh crap, and now I have to like text my manager, and if she doesn't answer, I have to call her. So yeah, it's like I have to do it like right on time every time.
Wow. I will say that sounds a little bit broken of a system. You already know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Kristen, Nate, any examples for you?
I think this one happens to me almost every year in one of the jobs I'm in right now. But we have to do professional liability insurance certificate updates for all of our providers across the company. And if we don't get them done by the expiration, they run risk of falling off panel with the insurance payers, which means that they're not going to get paid for any of their patient claims. So when we run into instances where we don't get those certificates from the vendor up until a certain number of days ahead of that, all of a sudden we have this mad dash to update 600 providers in a very short window of time. And so it's you do it till it's done, and you just do it till it's done. And so that's made a couple very late nights for me, but at least it's not all the time. So
yeah, and that's a really good point too, because that's probably more of an issue, right? If it were consistent. Yeah. What do you do to make up for that? Do you like sleep extra the next day if you can, or anything like that? Do you have that opportunity?
Yeah, normally it falls around a weekend.
Okay.
The last couple times at least. If it's something where it's during the week, I wake up and I go to work the next day. So just depends. Yeah.
And how's work the next day?
I'm not as fun to be around.
Yeah, okay.
But it's okay. They do.
You're not as emotionally resilient. Absolutely. Nate, do you have an example?
Well, I actually wanted to use I was curious about one thing you said about sleep and like memory. So my mom was a teacher. She recently retired, and she would always be like grading papers or something and till late, and she'd often take like a nap and then wake up and grade some more. But like in the last, I don't know, 5-10 years or so, like I think both me and my dad noticed she'll just like there are some things like she's definitely still all there and everything like that. I'm not, but like there'll be some things she kind of forgets, and then it's just kind of like, I hope that's just. I wonder how much sleep plays into that.
And you know how yesterday we were talking about metabolism and how when you're younger, you've just done less damage to your metabolism. Not that it's necessarily faster. Same thing with sleep and memory, right? So that's why I say it's important now, because you can't just make up for, let's say, 40 years of not sleeping once you're 45.
She taught for 37 years. So
yeah, that's a long time to potentially be doing damage to your system, right?
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that there's not any hope. That just means that there might be some residual damage from before, right? Yeah. Yeah, good example. Okay. So the last piece that we're going to do is we are going to talk about something in our sleep behavior that maybe we can help ourselves be more prepared for. So I know obviously Michael Boone University students, you've gone through this already, so you can pick something that you've already done, or if there's something that you're still working on, let me know. But is there something that you feel like you can do to make sure that you're either going to sleep better, sleep longer, or that you can make up for sleep if you have those one-off situations? So Ray, let's go with you first.
Yeah, so for me, I've noticed that when I meditate and do yoga before bed, I can fall asleep way quicker, and I definitely stay asleep the whole night without like waking up. So maybe I can, not necessarily right before bed, but maybe I could do it like yoga every time I work out, after every time I work out, which I mostly do, and meditate before I go to sleep.
Yeah, I love that. And a really strong nighttime routine. That's one of the reasons that we work at MBU. A really strong nighttime routine is actually supposed to help trigger your body's melatonin response so that it produces it earlier and it's more effective. And so it's supposed to make you fall asleep faster. So that's really cool that you're already seeing some benefits from that.
Yes. Yeah. And then one more thing. I've also started listening to like philosophy as I fall asleep. Like there's a philosophy channel that I listen to. And so I notice now that I've been listening to it for like about a month now, every time I hear his voice, I start feeling really sleepy.
Nice. Hopefully you still get something from it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
For like the
Nice.
10 minutes that I listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. All right, Caitlin, what's something that you're working on or that you'd like to work on?
I kind of vary the kind of music I listen to when I'm trying to go to sleep because I'm trying to find something that's just that perfect fit. And though rain sounds works wonders for my wife to go to sleep, it does not for me. For some reason, it makes me cold. But I I have just started listening to only soundtrack music when I go to sleep because I notice that in the middle of the day when I lay down for a nap, I'll turn that on and then I'll pass out and then I'll wake up a few hours later and it's still going and I slept the whole time. So now I'm trying to give that a try when I go to sleep.
And something that you just mentioned that I really love is that you're playing with different variations, right? You saw something that kind of worked, and we talked about that yesterday with our nutrition, like the next best thing. So you saw something that
Hmm.
kind of worked, and you're like, okay, but it's not perfect. Let me tweak it, right? What's the next
Yeah.
thing that I can do to make it work a little bit better? Love that. Awesome. That's it.
So, along with my nighttime routine, I'm trying to really implement a consistent morning routine so that it's kind of training my body that you're sleeping in between. So that's helped a bit. But on the days that there's some caveat where I'm up a little bit later, I probably take a nap.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
Yeah.
at least you're still getting that sleep, right?
Yes.
And some people are against naps. I'm like, if you need to, you need to, right? And if we can make our routine better so you don't have to, awesome. But
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
All good. Nate?
Yeah, this hasn't really happened lately because I haven't been swimming much, but the best thing I've found for me is like if I go swimming sometime in the evening, um, something about it, like a long enough swim, and then maybe like a travel documentary or a history documentary. But something about the temperature, I think, with the swim and wearing out your body, but something about the being in cold. I don't know. It just I sleep so much better than anything else for whatever reason. I
Okay,
just if I fall asleep, I'm just out.
cool. Love that. Caitlin, did you raise your hand? Did you have something else?
Yeah, I was gonna say that China has proven that taking a nap in the middle of your workday after lunch has actually proven to make their workers work harder following that. So like as a country, they have proven nap time is a good thing.
Yes. And they used to do that, right? Back in the day when everyone used to work outside. It was way too hot to be outside, right? That was kind of the idea behind it. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and sorry
Please.
to bump in. Actually, in Spain, when I was in Spain, that's actually a thing. They have a siesta time from like 1 or like 12 to 3. And so all the stores close from that time. Nobody's out. It's very empty, quiet.
That
And then
sounds
right
nice.
after 3, about 4 p.m., everybody's out. All the stores are open. But mind you, they stay open till like 12 at night.
Yeah, right.
So what I
But
hear
still a
everyone
nap.
saying is we need to promote recess during the day.
Yes.
Nap time and then recess.
Yeah. The nap part of it is the very important part, Kristen.
I will admit, I want to take a nap almost every time I eat lunch. So this makes me feel better.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Let's go ahead and do a round of takeaways. Ray, what did you take away?
Yeah, so I did know this, but I think it's good that we spoke about again about having not so great sleep habits is can be directly related to like developing diseases in the long run, like Alzheimer's, dementia. So I think what I'm taking away is that to be more conscious of how much I sleep and when I sleep and keeping a routine before and after sleeping too.
Yeah. Okay. Caitlin?
Well, part of my BU goal is to not eat after midnight, and now I realize why I'm so hungry when I stay up that late. It's because I'm not sleeping, so I'm hungrier.
Oh,
Now
because
I
your ghrelin hormone.
understand the science behind it. I'm
Nice.
happy with that.
Nice.
So that's my takeaway is that if I go to bed, I won't be hungry.
Okay. All right. Kristen, I don't know if that's your issue, so I don't know if you were thinking that. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned it.
Well, I am going to say both of them took what I was going to say. So,
Oh
but it's okay. It's okay. Great minds think alike. But
Yeah.
I think my takeaway, I mean, really, I was kind of surprised it makes sense now that we talk about it, but about the Alzheimer and dementia thing, I would not have put those together, but it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think I'm making this up, but it also has to do with like the ability of your brain to be able to create synapses between their neurons. So that's one of those things that like can be fixed. So again,
Mhm.
can be fixed, can be better. You may also still be doing some damage to your system
Mhm.
over time. Awesome. Nate?
Oh, I'd say my takeaway is maybe you know, nighttime routine or just thinking about like what's the best way to fall asleep and why am I not doing it? For me, at least, it's probably different for everybody. But
Yeah. And kind of along those lines, and something that we've been skirting around a little bit is if you don't make habits or routines, like they kind of make themselves, right? It's not like you're not going to do something, it's just probably not
yeah,
what you want to be doing. Absolutely. Great. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. So tomorrow we are talking about the stress test. I called it, are you built to bend or break? Ooh. So please come through if you can, if you're available. And then as a reminder again, Saturday morning we have our award ceremony. I'll start flashing out some information about that in the next few hours.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
Yeah.
you. Bye.
Bye.